There was that time that I got in front of a room full of people and tried to convince them that flying monkeys made by mad scientists lived in the woods outside of Napa. That sounds kind of crazy, and this is sort of a story within a story. And fair warning, I'm going to be pacing around my backyard in Portland. So if you start to get a little dizzy, just close your eyes and listen to my soothing voice. So this goes all the way back to 2012 when Rachel, my wife, and I moved back to my hometown of Napa. It's a terrible place for kids. It's even worse for teenagers, but it's pretty great if you want to pretend that you're retired, which is what we did. Rachel's outrageously lucky, and she managed to win us a pair of tickets to the Napa Valley Film Festival by calling into a radio station. This was within hours of us returning to my hometown. We thought this was a good sign. We went to the Hat Building for one of the screenings. The Hat Building is an abandoned brick warehouse down on the slinky, dirty river that's the Napa River. Actually, it was all spruced up to be a bespoke boutique hotel by the time I got back to it, but when I was growing up, it really was just this abandoned hobo hotel. Now it was this, what's the word? Shanky? Shanky's not a word. Swanky. That's the word I'm looking for. Swanky lounge. We get there kind of early. There's only a couple people. There's the MC, and he's setting up the laptop because obviously this is so fancy that they're screening the film from a laptop, and we're chatting him up. And because I'm a native, I feel obliged to kind of share some of the local lore, and so I start to talk to him about the Rebobs, our local legend, our urban myth about the flying monkeys made by scientists that live in the hills outside of town. And, he smiles, and I'm not really tipping my hand too much. I'm sort of insinuating that I might kind of believe it, and that I, just leaving the door open for the possibility that might be a real thing, because we got to keep the myth alive, guys. So anyway, people start showing up to the movie. We sit back down, and we're waiting for things to start, and it's not starting. They're having technical difficulties. The MC keeps coming up and getting on the mic and trying to buy time. And at one point, he just kind of points to me and says, "Hey, why don't you tell them about the Rebobs?" And so I just go for it. I just get up there and I try to basically convince all of these people that I had an experience. I'm a terrible person, but this is what you got to do if you want to keep the myth alive, right? We have an urban legend, and I'm quite proud of that. So I had to do my part. So I get up in front of the mic, and I tell this story of a time when me and my girlfriend in high school, we went up Partridge Road to that old cemetery. It's a private cemetery. It's behind a high fence, and you have to clamber over the fence. It's this family cemetery that's been around forever. And we go there, we've got some beers, and we're making out. And then we start to hear this banging by my car. Really loud, high impact kind of stuff. And we're terrified. We think there's some crazy person out there, or at the very least, some violent drunk who's beating my car up. So we don't know what to do. There's this crypt over in one corner. It's just a lonely crypt. It's all covered with moss and other things. And so we kind of slink in there. It doesn't have a door or anything. So we just kind of curl up inside and we wait for what seems like hours. And we're there. The sound stops. We're waiting. And then I finally get up the courage to go out and do something, and or at least check it out. I don't have any kind of a weapon. So I just grab one of the beer bottles in my fist and I start walking very slowly towards the car. And then there's the awkward part where I have to clamber over the fence. And, I do that. And, my teeth are chattering. And I can see already from the top of the fence, I can see that the car has all of these dents in it. And then I start to walk towards the car. I jump down. And this is kind of where we parked there was a bunch of gravel, and making the noise with the gravel was in itself a little chilling, because I thought that whoever was doing this could hear me. And then I get up to the car and I notice that handle on the car door was gone. And then I hear this breathing sound behind me, and then they got the movie started. That's my story. That's a pretty good story.